Brain box.
My son deserves to pet your service dog. I'm on mobile. Sorry for any mistakes. Cast M. Me. SD. Service dog. Ep. Entitled parent K. Kid. So I live in the good old Sunshine State for school, and I'm pretty close to the House of the Mouse. My family visits once a year to me, and this year we decided at the House of the Mouse we wanted to go to the Kingdom of Animals. My service dog and I at this point haven't gone into the parks, so it was going to be a test for us as a team. We arrive later in the afternoon and are ready to have fun. My SD is geared up in some funny patches, and I'm pretty excited. After a bit of walking around I see the line for meeting Doug and Russell. It's short and shaded, so we get into line. While in line this woman on the opposite side talks to me. It's like a U-shaped line. Ep. Hi. M. Hi. Her child in the stroller is trying to grab my SD over the line. K. Doggy doggy doggy. Ep. Welcome my child, pet your dog. He's a good kid. M. No, she's working. At this point I turn to stare straight ahead. Ep. WLL. Ep. Well, other people let us pet this, so why not? At this point the woman is looking for a way to entertain her toddler because Doug and Russell went on a 5-minute break for water. M. She's still working. Ep. Well, HMPH, he just wants to pet the doggy. She glared at us until they left. Mind you, not even 5 minutes later I'm on the ground with my SD tasking. It's not as bad as some others, but it's always stuck with me. You paid $109 for your child to come here, and instead of getting your money's worth for the mouse attractions you want me and my service dog to be your personal one. No thanks. Entitled mom puts me on the bench of my soccer team. So I normally don't have a problem with sitting on the bench, but the ek isn't very good of a soccer player and we play on a travel team. Not many other people like the ek, but my coach still tries to be fair. BTW, I'm a goalkeeper, and so is she. Most of the time goalkeepers play full games or halves. One of my coach's biggest rules is that if you are late to practices or games consistently then you don't play as much. Well, the ek was sick for about 2 weeks and also went on vacation at that time, so she missed 2 weeks of practice and games. During that time I played the whole games and practices. It was fun, we didn't have to deal with ek's rudeness and we played well. So the next game we had, when she was back, I played the first half. My coach put me back in for the second half. Ek, why did you do that? I always play second half. See, you missed 2 weeks, I'll put you on in like 15 minutes. He had me play for the 15 minutes and took me off. I sat patiently on the bench. After the game the M had a long talk with my coach. It went something like this: M, why didn't you play my daughter? C, she missed 2 weeks ma'am. M, we drove an hour to play at this game just so she can play 15 minutes. That other girl isn't that good, you should just let ek the play. C, she is very good and hardly lets any goals in, plus she was here on time for the whole season. I will let her play on the field for the first half. The next game she showed up late and played the first half and second. For the rest of the season she played at least a full half no matter what. The next season I made the elite team and she had to change to a different team. I have a lot of other stories about them, but this one is the most entitled. M tells me to stand still, then shames me on the phone. So this how the story begins. Me and my two good friends, friend 1 and friend 2, were on the bus. I never really meet these two people, especially friend 1, because she lives in Texas and I live in Sweden. So as I said, me and friend 1 and 2 were on the bus on our way to the mall. So this bus was pretty crowded when we got on, but all there of us found a seat almost next to each other. So we were just talking, and then Karen comes in. She had everything to be called Karen: the haircut, the sunglasses, and the attitude. I didn't think that much about her. We were almost at our stop, and I thought I will stand up a little bit early, cause that there was a lot of people on the bus and I wanted to go to the exit. But there was a lot of traffic, so when I stood up the first time I realized this won't move for a while, so I sat down. I did the same thing 1 or 2 more times until I realized we were pretty close to the stop, so I stood up for a little while and then friend 1 and 2 said, "We won't be moving, sit down again." "Okay," I said. Right before I was about to sit down the bus moved and I fell a little bit backwards, like 1 to 2 centimeters. And I accidentally step on Karen's foot. Sorry, I said in a really polite voice and sat down. Ouch. Decide if you are gonna sit or stand, she says with the Karen attitude. Note I wasn't wearing like running shoes or something, I was wearing Adidas slides. She was talking on the phone with someone, and this person must have heard what she said and asked, and Karen said, "Just teaching a kid some manners." Me and my friends just started at each other. Later when we got off we talked about it and how funny it was that Karen got upset when I accidentally stepped on her. M tried to steal our first class seats. Background: my family was flying to Florida for winter break. We were pretty well off, so my dad got us first class seats. At the time I was 10 and my sister was 15. My sister and I sat next to each other and my parents were sitting in front of us. M equals entitled mom, Eb equals entitled brat. We were flying to Florida, like I said, when suddenly about 2 hours in, a 40 years old or so woman, M, and her maybe 7 years old son, Eb, walk into first class from economy. The woman sees 2 children in first class, my sister and I, and walks towards us. She starts complaining about some mix-up where our seats were hers and our seats were in economy. I knew for a fact that our parents paid for our first class seats and our tickets had our name and seat number in it, so we were pretty skeptical. We told her these were our seats. Then out of nowhere M starts yelling at us in the middle of the aisle. At this point she's gained an audience, including a few air hostesses and our parents. An air hostess told the woman that without proof, she couldn't claim those seats. Then the woman pulls out a ticket, but refuses to show it, leading us to believe that they were economy tickets. Then M whispers something to Eb, and I heard her say like we practiced. This causes the Eb to start throwing a huge temper tantrum. By this point, even I knew what was going on. This was obviously a cheap ploy to get first class seats. The pilots were alerted on the situation, and they decided to make a quick layover in Texas. When we landed about 30 minutes later, M and Eb were escorted off the plane. Also, later, I heard they were put on the no-fly list. It was a short story, but at least it has a happy ending. Girl bullies classmates, lies about getting bullied and watch parents set their house on fire. So, another one where the writer has nothing to do with the story. This happened in 2006. Basically, this girl named Natalie Connor kept bullying this girl called Lucy. Natalie was scared that Lucy would snitch on her, so she started telling her mom that Lucy was bullying her instead of the other way around. Lucy had learning difficulties, which was why Natalie bullied her. So, Natalie's mom decides to set their house on fire for revenge. The fire killed Lucy's parents and left Lucy with a 3rd-degree burn. The worst part was, according to the video I saw, they claim Natalie got out of jail just 6 years later. Eps want restaurant to change their menus from French to English. We're in a French Canadian city. The past 3 days, I was visiting Montreal. For those who have never been, Montreal is the largest city in the French Canadian province of Quebec. While the rest of the province speaks predominantly French. To my understanding, Montreal is unique in that it is very much a bilingual city. Regardless, signage is primarily in French, as are things like menus. However, many restaurants do have English translations on the menus, just underneath the French text. This took place at a breakfast spot shortly after I had ordered. I was waiting for my food when the family walked in. M, Ed, and their 2 kids didn't speak during this exchange. They sat down in the same section as me, received their menus and water, and were left alone to decide what they want. Moments later, they flagged down our server. S. M. Do you have any English menus? S. No, but M. Then how are we supposed to order? Ed. We don't speak French. S. Attempted to speak, but was interrupted. M. It's been the same thing since we arrived. French everywhere. Ed. Why is there no English? What if our kids got lost? M. How is anyone supposed to do anything here if they don't speak French? S. Quickly cutting them off, ma'am. There's English on the menu right under the French. If you or your kids got lost, almost everyone in Montreal speaks English. And there's French everywhere because we're in Quebec. French is our primary language. Now, do you know what you want, or would you like a few more moments? Silence. S. Why don't I come back in a few minutes? Eventually, the family ordered. They seemed to enjoy the food. Not sure how the payment portion went, but I tipped the guy a little extra.